Some breaking news from the United States, where President Joe Biden has said that he is going to stand down from the presidential race and not seek re-election to the White House in November. He has said that he will step aside as a candidate and he will focus on fulfilling his duties as president for the remainder of his term.
President Joe Biden has just announced that he is dropping out of the 2024 presidential race. In a stunning letter that was just released moments ago by his campaign on X, formerly known as Twitter, Biden wrote, quote, that it has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is in the best interest of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term.
This morning, Vice President Harris starting her 2024 presidential campaign as the party's presumptive nominee.
Great.
After clinching endorsements from more than 2,000 convention delegates. Overnight, Harris saying she's proud to have secured the broad support needed. I look forward to formally accepting the nomination soon.
Do we believe in the promise of America?
Yeah!
And are we willing to fight for it?
Yeah!
And when we fight,
Harris at campaign headquarters one day after President Biden dropped out of the race and threw his support behind her. The president calling in while recovering from COVID-19 at his Delaware home.
You've always had my back, and I promise you, I will always have your back.
The first Black and Indian American woman vice president thanking her boss and turning to attack former President Trump, leaning into her former role as a prosecutor.
Vice President Harris is wasting no time hitting the campaign trail in Milwaukee today. Harris is quickly consolidating support of Democrats in less than a month before the Democratic National Convention. CBS News estimates that she has received an endorsement of a majority of Democratic delegates.
Former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama have officially endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris for president.
Kamala.
Hello. Hi.
Hey there.
Oh, hi. You're both together. Oh, it's good to hear you both.
I can't have this phone call without saying to my girl Kamala, I am proud of you. This is going to be historic.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Oh, my goodness. Michelle, Barack, this means so much to me. I am looking forward to doing this with the two of you, Doug and I both, and getting out there, being on the road. But most of all, I just want to tell you the words you have spoken and the friendship that you have given over all these years mean more than I can express. So thank you both. It means so much. And we're going to have some fun with this too, aren't we?
I'm losing it.
Decision Desk can now project that former Vice President Kamala Harris will win and become the President of the United States.
Donald Trump, who stated in this process, "I will never give up fighting for you and our nation," will be denied a second term. Keep in mind the Trump campaign is in the midst of waging legal challenges in several states, but the path is clear for the new president-elect.
The states will all need to officially certify the vote. Almost 150 million Americans voted. Kamala Harris will receive the most votes of any presidential ticket ever.
Kamala Harris will be the first woman and the first woman of color to become president of the United States.
We did it. We did it. The next president of the United States.
Well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. This is vindication for a lot of people.
We are investigating the weaponization of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Department of Justice.
The election was rigged.
Dominion voting systems had rigged the election, and that its machines and software switched millions of votes from Donald Trump.
Since Election Day, Dominion voting machines have been the subject of claims amplified by powerful elected officials, most notably President Trump.
Do you think we're getting close to, and I'm not saying this hyperbolically because people are saying it all. Civil War, yeah.
I've said that numerous times. Yeah, I've said that numerous times. I've thought that a long time. I think they're going to push the wrong button pretty soon, and they're one of these days, and all hell's going to break loose. If it goes the wrong way, there's going to be trouble.
We're ready to take our country back, get rid of the people that shouldn't be in office and put the people in that need to be in.
It's actually really scary. We need to have people stand up and say, hey, enough is enough, and take our country back.
I think if we keep going down the same road, same path, I see it coming if we don't change something soon. I mean, it's crazy how more and more divided everybody is. This country, it's we're all Americans.
I'm afraid if we lose this one, it's going to take a civil war to save the country, and it will be saved. It's the greatest experiment in the history of mankind.
The fake news and the big tech is now coming into their own. We beat them 4 years ago. We surprised them. We took them by surprise. And this year, they rigged an election. They rigged it like they've never rigged an election before. And by the way, last night they didn't do a bad job either, if you notice. Hundreds of thousands of American patriots are committed to the honesty of our elections and the integrity of our glorious republic. All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about. And to use a favorite term that all of you people really came up with, we will stop the steal. It's a disgrace. There's never been anything like that. You can take third world countries, just take a look. Take third world countries, their elections are more honest than what we've been going through in this country. It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. Even when you look at last night, they're all running around like chickens with their heads cut off with boxes, and nobody knows what the hell is going on. There's never been anything like this. We will not let them silence your voices. We're not going to let it happen. Democrats attempted the most brazen and outrageous election theft, and there's never been anything like this. It's a pure theft in American history. Everybody knows it.
are objections, and we are hearing that the first one will be Arizona. Ted Cruz is planning to place an objection there. Both a House member and a senator must have a written endorsement that they submit to the desk saying that they object from one of the electors' votes in a particular state. So what that's going to do then is pause the joint session, and then senators are to return back to their chamber. The House stays where they are, and both bodies debate the worthiness of the objection that was made. Now, I want to let people know that this objection, even though we are paying so close attention to it in the politics, this is not normal. This process has been in place since the late 1800s, and it's only seeing objections break up the joint session and have the
prophecy within Revelation suggests that as the seven seals.
It is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault.
What you're actually starting to see is a sign of police presence starting to ramp up on the outskirts of the what I would describe as the hottest zone here, which is right in front of the Capitol. Just on the periphery of that hot zone, you have police starting to amass. I've seen officers from Montgomery County nearby putting on their riot gear, and they're being heckled by the city. They're telling them things like, I thought you were on our side. When the revolution starts, who are you going to be with, us or them? And the officers are not engaging the crowd. They're just being quiet, putting on their gear. And some of the Trump supporters, I heard one say, well, silence is golden. I guess we know who you stand with. And that's kind of the scene here. It's a very broken, very divided politics that has degenerated into something that I never thought I'd witness in a democratic and free society.
Alex, I just want to know more about what you are seeing and what you've seen. So are you saying that you are seeing...
unprecedented, and that's because there was this belief that your vote doesn't count, courtesy of Donald Trump, and that's why they lost the election. So yes, it will have a consequence for the Republican Party if there is this belief out there that your vote doesn't count. So I would recommend strongly that the Republican Party works to repair this and don't make this mistake again. Of note, the Democrats contested the election in 2000, 2004, and 2016. But they did it in a much more civil way, and we certainly didn't have a world leader like Donald Trump egging on the protesters.
Yeah, I think certainly there's one thing in your right to contest the election, and anyone's right to do so and head to the courts. It's another thing, even once going through that whole court process, to say or to insist that the election was stolen. The storming of the Capitol building is an astonishing assault on freedom and democracy. I am deeply saddened to see chaos grip our greatest ally today. And the leader of the federal NDP, Jagmeet Singh, as well, sent out a tweet a little bit earlier. The horror unfolding in Washington, he said, is frightening, and it was incited by Donald Trump. He can end it now, but refuses to. Democracy must not be intimidated. The violence must end.
It was an attack against our nation. Never before, at least since the presidential election of 1860, have we ever faced a more pivotal time in American history.
Our Heavenly Father, which art in heaven, we're divided. We have witnessed injustice. Anger and despair have flowed into the streets. We need your help. We need to hear your voice at this crucial hour. We ask that you would unite our hearts to be one nation under God, for you are our only hope.
1 in 5 Americans think violence might be necessary to get the country back on track.
I worry about civil war.
Civil war, they want civil war.
The number of people who agree force is justified to restore Trump to the presidency, 18 million.
The culture wars have been boiling up for decades. Abortion, racial injustice, and guns. But many Americans feel something about this moment is different.
America has always been divided, but none more so than now, when both parties feel the other side winning the election is the end of democracy itself, when the rhetoric has become increasingly violent and the rage visceral. Then throw into that the fact that there are more guns in this country than there are people, and the result is a powder keg just waiting to go off.
When a 20-year-old man attempted to shoot and kill Donald Trump using an AR-15 style rifle as he was on stage speaking during a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. The former president escaped bloodied but unscathed, raising his fist into the air and mouthing, "Fight, fight." A defiant gesture that's already become a rallying cry for the MAGA faithful.
Fight, fight, fight.
And spread fear among everyone else. That the toxic combination of guns and anger is much more likely to spill over into violence.
The fact that we're having an attack on a political candidate, it's very disturbing, it's very frightening. The ready access to guns and people having such strong emotions on both sides of the fence, you don't know what's going to happen.
No thanks, Kamala. You've done a terrible job. You've been terrible at everything you've done. You're ultra-liberal and we don't want you here. We don't want you anywhere. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
Because both sides are going to feel cheated. Both sides are going to feel like this country is going to go to hell no matter who wins.
He says the gap between those on the right, like him, and those on the left is now so vast, it's almost impossible to find common ground.
If they can't make me understand them, and I can't make them understand me, how are we going to get there?
But where does that go?
Ugly.
What does ugly mean?
It could be a war. I'm afraid that this could be a war.
Everybody told me not to do this interview.
But even he doesn't trust us. His brother will videotape our interview.
Group stands for pretty much protecting our community, protecting our gun rights, protecting the Second Amendment, Constitution. Pretty straightforward stuff that you're used to hearing from patriot groups, I guess. I think their country is possibly headed in the direction of a civil war.
The rap on patriot groups is that you're all a bunch of racists.
I completely disagree with the white supremacist movement. I also disagree with the black supremacist movement.
What about someone who espouses discriminatory beliefs about African Americans, about Muslims? Would you accept them into your group?
We do not accept hate-mongering type of people, because that's not what we stand for.
The following message is being delivered at the direction of the United States government. This is an attack warning. I repeat, this is an attack warning. An attack warning indicates that an attack on this country has been identified and that protective measures should be initiated. NORAD has detected the launch of 6 nuclear missiles. It has been verified that these missiles are directed towards the continental United States. This is not a test. It is anticipated that these missiles will be armed with nuclear warheads. Since the targets are unknown at this time, all civilians in the United States are highly encouraged to remain calm and seek underground refuge. Make sure you have enough non-perishable canned meals and drinkable water for the next 14 days. When the threat is passed, an all-clear siren will sound. The all-clear siren will sound like an air raid siren. Once the all-clear siren is heard, it is permissible to go outdoors. Do not try to evacuate until you hear the all-clear siren. Radiation levels will be lethal. This broadcast shall deliver authenticated news and information on the situation to the American people in order to maintain transparency. NORAD is putting in a continuous effort to determine the missile's targets. The U.S. National Missile Defense System is currently being deployed to protect the country from incoming missiles. This is a national emergency. American lives are in danger. Remain calm and seek underground safety as quickly as possible. The United States government is doing all necessary to defend. This is a follow-up to the previously issued National Emergency Action Notification. Potential targets have been identified by NORAD/US Northcom. 6 incoming intercontinental ballistic missiles are expected to strike the United States in about 15 minutes.